City. It is this sprawling, massive place, miles and miles across. Been here as long as anyone can remember. Nobles play their power games, guilds maneuver for money and influence. Dark things emerge from the shadows to hunt, and the lamplighters take everything in while keeping the darkness at bay. The thing I always wonder is why? Why do these lamplighters keep the darkness back? What investment do they have in Avalon? Streets of Avalon, an urban RPG setting by Brett Blazinski for the world's most popular role-playing game. Ask for it at your friendly local game store or head over to gamingnbs.com/streets. Gaming NBS episode 351 being recorded Monday, July 19th, 2021. Welcome to Gaming NBS, a tabletop RPG podcast. I'm Sean.
And I'm Brett. Welcome to the show. Welcome back, folks. Sean, you look like the happiest goddamn BSer out there right now. Holy shit.
Hit record, hit stream. Yes, there's sound. It's recording. Yeah. Like
I'm waiting for you to do a Ric Flair. Woo! Yeah. There we are.
Do that baby meme.
Awesome. Nice. So let's see. What kind of gaming did you do since we talked last, man? Anything cool? Anything not cool? Anything at all?
Cyberpunk Red got underway this past Tuesday.
Did you get into it enough where you are understanding how much you like or don't like mechanics, settings, system, anything like that? Are you like still working your way through the nuances?
Still working the way through the nuances.
Okay.
But, the setting is, the group is pretty interesting. We're playing essentially a rock band. Punk rock band.
You've got aren't you like the bookie?
Yeah, I'm the manager. Manager.
All right, whatever. Like
recording, producer. Yeah, I'm the business guy of the band.
All right.
So it was good. We got sent on a mission. Well, we got hired for a gig, right? Some woman, Delphine, called us.
I was just gonna ask you, how the fuck does a band get sent on a mission?
Well,
all right, so you get hired for a gig. Okay.
We get hired for for a gig to play outdoors, no contract. I'm not really liking the terms of it.
I see.
We play the night market, and then we're supposed to convoy with our groupies and our fans back to Metal Storm, the club.
Okay, yeah.
All right, to kind of finish up.
Got it.
So we do that, but as we do that, it's not the Wu-Tang Clan. It's a Wu-Tang. It's the Yakuza. It's some street gang.
Okay. Rival, a gang of some sort.
Gang of some sort. Yeah, motorcycles flying, shooting up the place. We're involved. And then we get to Metal Storm, and the people that were involved in the shooting look as though they're getting payment from the woman that hired us for the gig. And we're like, hey, what the hell? What are you paying this guy off? We almost killed our band.
Yeah, damn, what the fuck? Yeah, okay.
And then she's like, it was all, I hired these guys to do that because I wanted to see what your skills were. So she's hired bands in the past. They didn't work out. So now she's like wanting us to be.
This is a very particular set of skills for a band.
Well, true. Well, our rocker boy's name is Nathan Explosion. And so.
You know who Nathan Explosion is, right?
Is he a real person?
It's the lead singer from Death Clock.
It's
a cartoon. Metalocalypse is a cartoon on Adult Swim.
Well, I didn't know that. These guys probably are in that circle. Like I didn't.
Yeah,
it's
Nathan
totally
Explosion.
over my head.
Yeah, he's They sing songs like they had an album that was like Metal for Fish. And like when people listen to it, like, we don't understand it. It's because you're not a fish. This is for,
I have some of my notes right here actually on sticky notes.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, and So
Were you
there's-
having fun though?
yeah. So that it just started. So then Jimmy will start getting us into, hey, I need you guys to do this or that, and
Cool.
yeah. So we'll see. I don't know if this is really my forte as a talent manager, but I guess I am. I could find ways to get things.
Yeah.
Since
you're
I'm a
not really
fixer,
good.
I'm playing a fixer.
Yeah, you're not good at like organizing people, getting them onto gigs and getting them from a new gig to that's nothing you're experienced with, Sean. So I'm sure you'll just stumble your way through that one.
And then this Thursday kicks off Forbidden Lands. So I got all the guys' characters. I've got all their Dark Secret, their Pride, which is all parts of Forbidden Lands mechanics. So then it's a dwarf, couple humans because they have a couple different ethnicities, and then an orc.
Okay,
Druid.
so this is Forbidden Lands 2. This time, it's
This
for
time
real or
it's
something.
real. Forbidden Lands 2. This time it's real.
It's personal or whatever.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, good.
So I got, okay, where are you from? Why are you from that forest? Where, if they say I got my powers this way, who gave you your powers? Blah, 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 blah. So I got some juice
Nice.
to throw
Like
at
it.
them, and I got to come up with some lore to give them. Just give them some hooks to sink their teeth into. But I don't know how they're going to. Okay, so why or how are you all together coming from 4 different
Groups.
places? Like,
Yeah.
not even
different groups,
places, just like races, cultures.
Yeah, what brings you together? Why would you do this?
So I was asking,
Nice.
like, okay, you're the dwarf. What are your thoughts of the humans and the elves and the orcs? Oh, I
nice.
love them all. I love every one of them. Okay, well, that's good because
That's good. That's helpful. That's very helpful.
You're going to be adventuring with 3 of them.
Yeah. That's good. That's helpful.
So, you, Brett, what about you? I know your week has
Let's see,
not
I
gone
had-
gameless because that would just not be right.
That would not be right. AJ ran Ilana and I through his next piece of his Midgard campaign. We're trying desperately to figure out a way to buy pieces and parts of this little town, which we've named Restonford, and we're slowly ingratiating ourselves in. We might try to get elected mayor or something. And AJ, God love him, he's doing a really good job of taking everything we've been doing, retconning, adapting, tweaking. All right, well, they did this. I guess that's got to be how this works now. And he's just really doing a good job. Way to go. We're like, oh, yeah, how's trade from that other town we helped save? Well, the scouts never came back. I'm like, wait, what? What happened? Ah, crap. So we have to go there. We had to fight 3 trolls. Holy shit. We got our asses handed to us bad. We came out on top. It was very, very touch and go. Lucky dice on our part, but it was not easy at all. And then I had my Greyhawk game, and the guys encountered a first edition Mind Flayer, which is all psionics and ESP psionic powers. And
Psionics.
yeah. So the Mind Blast in first edition is a chart that can do everything from, so you take your character's intelligence plus your wisdom, add them together, look at the chart, roll a D100. It could do everything from dead to mild insanity, mild like temporary. And so what happened is Mind Flayer went in and went whammy while they were in a fight with a bunch of assassins that the Mind Flayer had dominated to attack them, to knock down their defenses in their room. Mind Flayer opens the door, wham, and shuts the door giggling because a bunch of them were frenzied. They lost their shit, attacking each other. The druid is forgetfulness type of thing, and all of his spells are gone. He's like, what do I do? What's my name? I can't remember this. So he can remember bits and pieces, but some of it he can't. Poor Lenny's looking at Zave's gnome thief going, I have to attack him? Yes. I don't wanna. Too bad. Hit him. Whack. Hit him once. Half his hit points gone. He's like, holy fuck. But it was a hell of a good fight. And we have the team has once again learned that Geezer, which is Alpha's druid, he's an old guy. He got nicknamed Geezer in his first appearance, and that's been his name ever since.
I thought it was because he was a drummer, but
No, it was not. That would be Geezer Butler, different guy.
Indeed.
But anyway, he had a potion of fire breathing, was able to get out of the room, get down, and basically ambush the Mind Flayer as it was chuckling and walking away, assuming that the player characters were taken care of. It ignored them completely until he walked up and went and just breathed and just fucking toasted my Mind Flayer like that. So that bastard has killed my Mind Flayer and a Dracolisk all in one go each time. So good fight, though. Very good fight. Guys are having a hell of a good time with it. So it's been a lot of fun. We're supposed to be playing Dungeon of the Mad Mage tomorrow, but we'll see. Alpha has his mom is not very healthy right now, so we're trying to see what he's got to do, where he's got to be. So we might forego the game for that. But otherwise, all good, man. That was about it.
I do play Scum and Villainy tomorrow night.
Whoa, do you?
Yeah, Lux Strider's running that for three or four of us. So,
very nice.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
I should probably find out what's going on.
You probably should.
Yeah.
Show up prepared, stuff
Hi.
like that. Hi, I'm that guy who did the Be a Better Player episode. I'm here to show you how not to do any of that.
Hey, man.
Watch me as I step on my own feet.
Con game, showing up to the table.
Hi, what are we doing? Oh, cool. All I got are D4s. Hope
This is the Scum and Villainy game, right?
Yeah, good. Sorry I'm 10 minutes late.
Cool. Yeah, right.
10 minutes late and hungover. Sorry about that.
Right.
Yeah. Great. Thanks, guy.
It'll be fine.
Okay, so that's gaming. Let's see here. GameWorldCon.com. I had my 3 events are in, and they've been approved. So I'm locked and loaded.
I have 2. They have been approved. Alex hit me up today and asked me if we still wanted a podcast booth. And I said, yes.
Yeah, we went to Josh, as you told us to.
I told him, I said, hey, we went to Josh or Sean. I know my colleague.
Josh.
My colleague has been working on it, and I thought we were all squared away. He's like, oh, just checking. Like, okay, hey, thanks for looking out for us.
Yeah, no, that's nice.
From the top.
From the top.
From the top.
We tend to get that kind of attention.
Yeah.
He probably looked at the map and went, where's Sean and Brett? What's going on? I don't want to.
Wait.
Where's Gaming BS? I wanted to shut this con down. Somebody, that's it. Everything stopped. Everything stopped.
Where the hell is who's responsible?
Yeah.
I need a name.
That's probably what he did.
Fire them and get a table over there.
That's probably what happened.
Right.
Poor interns. Just crucified him.
Right. Volunteer.
Anyway, if you're coming to GameWorldCon, we will see you there. We'll have our little booth, which is basically Alex and the guys love to give a shit. You guys aren't recording while you're here. What's the point of having a booth? They're like, well, this is where all of our friends stop by. It's like a hangout place. So we strongly encourage you, if you're friend of ours, friend of the show, or just friends of each other, you stop by, say hi, hang out while we're there. Or if we're not there, sit down and hang out yourselves. It's totally fine. It's just a place to gather and kind of BS a little bit with fellow BSers. So there you go.
Saturday evening will be some type of soiree, I'm sure. I don't usually run games Saturday night, so we'll put that out there. It'll probably be typically.
I think Alex announced that there's a beer at the Clarion thing a couple different nights.
Yeah.
From there. So, but if nothing else, we'll figure out something for ourselves and listeners as well. So
yeah, we have a guest that it plans on brewing beer to bring. So,
wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, and it started brewing like 2 months ago. I think, I don't know if AWOL Trooper's in the chat, but I don't want to say like, hey, he's brewing beer. We got to be there in case something happens and he's not, he can't show up or something. But
well, he's not there. We just tip one back in his stead and say, I wish you were here.
Right.
And there we go.
Yeah.
All right, man. I think that's about it. Random encounter?
Random encounter.
Moving right along.
Random encounter, segment of the show where we field voicemails, emails, comments from social media. First one, Timothy Stone calls one in.
Again, holy cow.
This is directed to you, Brett.
Whoa. What the hell did I do?
I don't know why. I get my names mixed up. It's that age.
I do that too.
Yeah.
That's all right, Bill.
Fair. I kind of like Bill.
Yeah. Well,
Bill the
both
horse.
of them are good guys.
Bill the
horse,
pony.
yes.
Yeah.
Hey, Brett and
Right,
Sean. Tim Stone here. Just calling you. I was listening to some of your more recent back episodes, and something came up around Prince Thomel and the Temple of Elemental Evil. And I'm trying to get to the root of this, and I can't seem to Google it. I'm not sure where this came from, and maybe this is, Brett, this might be something wholly of your invention. But where is it that Prince Thomel is a vampire? I can't seem to grok that from the T1 through 4 as written. He certainly doesn't come off as a vampire in the words as written. And I'm curious if this is just, an example of somebody thinking that that's what happened to him when he was down there. I currently have Prince Thomel as somewhat of a distracted patron of the party, certainly within my campaign, and that's the beauty of D&D. My campaign is not your campaign, is not his or her or their campaign. But I'm just curious where that might have originated, and if you know, and can cite sources. Thanks. Bye.
All right, crap. Now I got homework to do.
So
it sounds like you might be, Tim, running the original Temple of Elemental Evil versus Return to.
So Return to, he's the vampire?
Return to, I believe he is. You know what? Hang on. I'm going to step away. Hold on. I got it right back here. Hold on.
As Brett steps away from the mics to ensure the accuracy of this message.
Ah, yes.
I will be somewhat disappointed if somebody else didn't call this out sooner.
I'll be sad if I've been wrong all this time too, but I know that's what my
Could have been something where you were the player and somebody ran it.
Well, yeah.
Right? And he made it that way. And it's been forever etched in stone to be, stone.
Good me.
Get it? Timothy's
stone.
Etched in stone.
Nice.
To not be the vampire, or to be the vampire.
God damn it. I'm going to find it. All right. Keep talking.
All right.
You got to read the next one while I do research.
Okay, if that's fair. All right, go ahead.
Do your thing.
And if you don't find it this episode while I do completely solo as Brett does the research.
Shut up. I'm busy. I'm working now.
Edwin emails us on hex crawls. I listened to and had a bunch of thoughts on your chat with B about exploration and hex crawls. I think a lot of it comes down to reactive versus proactive storytelling. Exploratory hex crawls become fun as story emerges reactive, while traditional scenarios are more proactive. A good random encounter or random treasure table is great for someone who enjoys reactive improv, while a nice set piece can allow someone to really prepare. It sounds like Forgotten Realms allows for super fun emergent story through interesting success and failure options, assuming players are up to the challenge of spinning hay into gold. Thanks, Edwin.
I read that one. I'm going to take a break from doing my search here. I think one of the cool things I think about the hex crawl piece, and I have, again, very grateful that I got a copy of Forbidden Lands, but when I start looking at it, I haven't had a chance to dive into it. But the exploration component of the hex crawl really is what's interesting to me, because exploration, if it's got good mechanics, I think it'll really help me do exploration better, right? And I think the random encounters, random and so forth, that reactive improv, I think you're absolutely right, Edwin. I think I don't mind doing that, but there's certain points when I'm like, man, I need some kind of a guidance, something to bounce off of, right? It's kind of like the improv troupe, and I'm not comparing, just closely I can think of here, is like, hey, give me a location, give me 2 people at an ice cream parlor, right? You know, priest and a rabbi. Great. Okay. At an ice cream parlor. Fine. That's what we're doing. Something to work with. And I think that's where some of those components, I think really can be very, very helpful with the hex crawl stuff and some of the rules and mechanics around it. And I think I really like the Forgotten Realms, the original first edition and second edition maps, because there's so much empty space on it. And a lot of the, if you don't read like all the canon, like if you just go by a couple of first edition, second edition source books, they're like, what's in the north? There's this, there's bits and pieces. These are small module size, if you will, 90, 80 page booklets. They're not 100 and some odd page $50 monsters, right? So I like that because I think it reminds me a lot of one of the things I loved about Simba Room is just enough to get me going. Again, those bumpers that help make that kind of more fun. So cool. I like it. Thanks, man. Yeah, I still can't find this stupid thing. Grumble. All right,
you want me to continue, or you wanna?
No, I need you to read another one. I'm grumbling.
Yeah, Brett's gonna get hung up on that. All right, the next one comes from Akadoken. Comes up with a question from pull in the mechanics from other RPGs. It's just a very short one. We all talk about things to add to our toolbox, but what about the junk drawer? Anyone have any mechanics / tools they'd love to use in their games but can never find a way to work them in?
Do you have anything like that, Sean?
I have a lot of miniatures, but I don't want to work them in, actually.
No.
So it's not something I want to work in. I would say junk drawer, mechanics, tools they'd love to use in their games but can never find a way to work them in. I think if you're talking specifically about tools, I would say not off the top of my head, only because if I wanted to work them in, I would, or if I didn't, I won't, which just seems like a pretty crappy response. But I don't have an example off the top of my head. 'Cause, there would be one that would be somewhat close, and that has to do with probably Foundry and Virtual Tabletop. And it's not necessarily a tool as much as what I've come across recently, which it would be in my toolbox to do, but I'm not interested in probably pursuing it just because I don't know if I wouldn't want to put in the work, be too time consuming, or I don't feel as though I want it to facilitate this type of game. And that is, with the most recent release of Foundry, is it has different layers. I think it's always had some layering, but there's a tutorial I came across on YouTube that basically allows you to imagine a layered PDF, right, of a tavern. So you would have the roof, and you would have. So typically when you put in a map on Foundry and there is a structure and you build walls around it, the top of the structure or the thing that you build the walls around comes up as black. In this particular change, it allows you to put in a tavern that has a roof. If you walk through the door, the roof disappears and a layer of the floor layout will appear. And then if there are stairs in that and you go down the stairs, it will go down and change the map layout to what the downstairs appears to be. So it's very video gamey, very much so. And it's cool in how it makes it happen, because it opens up a few things as far as maps go, because typically we're taking, usually in those environments, 3 different maps. You got the top, you got the main level and the bottom, and then you're transporting tokens to each one. This is not that case. So I thought it was pretty damn cool, but I don't think it's something that I want to do.
I'd say the mechanic that jumps out to me that I've never used is any variation of, including Matt Colville's Strongholds and Followers, is to build a bloody stronghold. I did it as a player.
That's a good one.
Right?
That's a good one.
But seriously, it's one of those people, wouldn't that be? And it never seems to get there. And I don't know why. I shouldn't say I don't know why. I think it became more of a thing that we did when we played Vampire, because you'd have a haven, you'd have a house, a safe house, you'd own a property, you'd have a nightclub, something. So you would have kind of got our fix, if you will, for building and owning property in one way, shape, or form, because it was not a necessity, but very advantageous. And a lot of times in my D&D games, it just doesn't go there because I think people see it as like, well, if I do that, then I really can't go adventuring, right? Like, oh, if I have that, it's like the old joke in Brett's, vampire game was, oh, you have a character with living family. You're fucked. He's going to murder them all. And I did. Oh, you have a girlfriend. She's dead. Oh, you have a boyfriend. Guess who's a vampire now too, worth the other guys or whatever. So they would often, we as players, at least, would always see it as kind of like a drag in one way or another. I'm positive there's better ways to do it.
Forbidden Lands.
Again, yep. Oh, look at that. I know Strongholds and Followers. I've breezed through it a while back when I first got it. Has some really cool shit. And even Colville's Kingdoms and Warfare, the PDF is out.
Yes,
there's some cool stuff there. So I'm like, okay, but it's a chunk of mechanics that I've never used, even those that are built in, my old Beckme set or whatever. I just don't, always glossed over it. Well, shit, man, in the Beckme stuff, there's rules for big wars, naval engagements, and so forth. And that's another one. I look at some of the ship-to-ship combat in a medieval setting or whatever, or at least in my D&D games, it just is never... It's always been kind of an ad hoc-y affair. And I know there's some good stuff out there. We just haven't really done it right. So...
VC says the Gaming and BS guarantee, if you have them and you love them in your RPG game, we'll find a way to use them.
Nice.
I don't know about that. But those are good examples, Brad. I never thought of the Stronghold thing. I always that is one that kind of intrigues me that hasn't ever really come up. And I think it's been just out of sight, out of mind. Dragons. Hey, I got an idea. Maybe that's it. Dragons.
Yeah.
I played Dungeons and Dragons, and I cannot freaking tell you the last time I had a dragon in an adventure, running or playing.
The last I had was the Dracolisk. It's not even a pure dragon. Actually, that's on my list of things to do in my first edition Greyhawk game. So
dragon?
I have to pull it in. Yeah, I gotta have a dragon.
Big,
it's gonna happen.
Ancient. None of that half-stepping shit.
No, big motherfucker.
Big, ancient, whooping the ass.
Yeah.
A whooping the ass.
So thanks, Akadoka. That's good stuff, man.
Yeah, thanks, Akadoka. That's good. It helps get the wheels cranking, but...
All right, Tim Stone. I feel better now, Mr. Timothy. Page 120 of the Return to the Elemental Evil.
Boom.
The Vampire, EL14. This room is unholy, desecrated, blah, blah, blah. Thrommel, vampiric human paladin, fallen. And there's a Jolana, fiendish bad servant. Thrommel can travel from his coffin in gaseous form, blah, 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 blah. And that's kind of it. It's just the monster in a room perspective. Thrommel is a 9th level Blackguard vampire, resides here. He was once Prince Thrommel, Grand Marshal of Farundi, and Provost of Veluna. These are countries north of Hamlet. The force of the Temple of Elemental Evil captured him when he fought against them in the Battle of Emerald Meadows. Kept as a prisoner in the Temple of Elemental Evil for a long time. Eventually brought here. Blah, blah, blah.
All right. Now,
I'm just saying, page 120.
Now I have to wonder, what the hell's Timothy doing over there? Like, what pages is he looking at? Because he made it sound like he was like thoroughly paging through this stuff.
Which is why I think he's talking the original Temple of Elemental Evil. I would not doubt, because Monty Cook did the Return to as like the... When 3rd edition D&D came out, if you want to play a game that showcases, to my knowledge, every part of the 3.0 rule set, everything, it's in there. I mean, social encounters, these type of encounters, all the different mechanics, grappling, this, that, and everything. The monsters that do grappling, the creatures that do rending, the stuff that does this, it's all freaking in there, from what I can tell. And I know Monty did. It's a redo of the original Temple of Elemental Evil, so I'm willing to bet it's been a very, very long time since I've read the original. So I wouldn't doubt that Prince Thrommel is in the original. And I know Timothy Stone likes his 1st and 2nd edition stuff, as do I. So he may be referencing that versus the Return to, which is what I was talking about.
Gotcha. So there is a distinction between the different versions.
Correct.
Got it.
I feel a lot better.
We're
now.
all right. We're all correct in this.
I'm just more correct in
this
case, which is what makes me feel better
which
about myself.
Should be, because, you're here.
Yeah, well, and this is me arguing with somebody who can't argue back right now.
That's
but
true
anyway,
too.
Mr. Stone, that is what I was talking about. And you look at him, he's just a vampire in a room, which is the whole point, where a lot of my friend and other people, myself included, when you read it, you go, really? That's it? And it becomes something else. So, all right. I feel good. I'm going to read Kevin's comments. You ready?
I'm ready.
I feel good. All right. So Kevin commented on pulling in mechanics from other games. Howdy, folks. I've definitely pulled in some various mechanics into other games. The ones I can think of are FFG Star Wars initiative slots, clocks from Blades in the Dark, part of the Apocalypse games, and DCC RPG XP tiers. I haven't even thought about experience point tiers. That's kind of interesting. Really like the Star Wars initiative slots as both a player and a GM. My group has been using them in just about every game we played since we first encountered this mechanic, and it works like a dream. It really promotes teamwork and setup within an encounter. Though there are some hiccups that you have to work through. For example, everyone has to pay attention and remember whether or not they have acted during the turn, or what do you do with the mechanic / effect that say they last until the end of your next turn and when your act is variable. For this question, we looked at what the intention of the effect was. Is this effect meant to boost / inhibit someone for one turn? That it lasts until everyone has quote unquote lived through that effect, etc. So I'm going to stop for a second. Kevin, I think that is wisdom, man. The intention of the effect, the intention of the rules, the intention. I think that is incredibly important. And when people get into rules arguments, they get very letter of the law versus the intention of the law. And until the gaming police show up, just go with the intention. You're usually on par. So he continues. Clocks for Blades PBTA are an excellent mechanic to track a lot of different things: times, guards, chases, general suspicion, etc. The DCC RPG XP tiers are where the amount of XP a character gets per encounter is based on how difficult / what happened during that encounter, is usually listed as a number from 0 to 4. I think it might be 0 to 3. Basically, did the party breeze through the encounter while expending no resources? 0 to 1.
Oh, and by the way, when Brett says I think it's 0 to 3, he typed that.
Yeah,
he typed Brett isn't like calling out another.
I'm not correcting
person.
him. I'm not correcting him, Kevin. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Sean.
Yes.
I sounded like a dick there.
Yeah, I thought Brett's
usual.
Brett's in the correction mode now, and that's not the case.
No, that's
Kevin
not true.
actually typed that. Like it's 0 to 4. I think it might be 0 to 3. Yeah.
And then he continues with, did the party experience a character death and barely survive by the skin of their teeth? That's a 3 to 4 XP. I did have to do a little digging to find a table / XP numbers that made sense based on fifth edition's expected amount of XP to level. What I found and used was the XP thresholds by character level on page 82 of the DMG. What this did was replace the 0 to 4 chain with the correct lines. Replace the 0 to 4 chain with a correct line based on the character's level. I used a Tomb of Annihilation game that ran my group in 5th edition D&D and printed off the XP thresholds table for each player, placed them around the game area. Each player was then responsible for tracking their own XP and leveling up at the appropriate time over a long rest. I just started whether each encounter was easy to deadly. I enjoyed this mechanic a lot as a DM, but my players did express some difficulty tracking it. They wanted milestones instead. Though they also had fun pointing out when a character was knocked down or killed and salivating over the expected XP reward coming later. It was an interesting experiment, and I enjoyed trying it out for the game, Kevin. That's awesome, Kevin. I did not think about changing up XP tiers because, the whole concept of milestones, that was not in... I don't feel like that was a D&D thing for quite some time. I know it wasn't back in the original days, right? I do not recall encountering a milestone approach for leveling up until I got back into D&D when 3rd edition came out, right? So we played 2nd quite a bit, but we were always tracking experience points. We did not get into... So I don't even remember 3rd edition had a milestone approach, but I like the other cool thing that this does is 0 to 4 type of thing. Is the numbers are smaller. And there's something kind of cool with that. This is a 1, it's a 2, it's a 3, it's a 4. Instead of saying, well, all right, each goblin is worth 5 XP, and then the champion's worth 10, and divided by... The math can get a little bit overwhelming, which is one of the reasons people like the milestone piece. It just happens. Things move fast. It's very, I have found that in my 1st edition game, the guys really are grooving on XP awards. And I have taken it to, instead of using the 0 to 4, I have simplified a little bit for how 1st edition works, where I go through what did you do These encounters that's about 1,000. This is 500. This is 250. I have chunks and I haven't codified it down yet, but I'm getting pretty good. I think at the characters are progressing at a decent enough rate. They're gathering up some good XP, and they don't feel cheated. No one's ever said, "God damn, that's all we got, man. That was a big fight." Never had that happen yet, so I feel like I'm doing okay.
Oh man!
But I like this approach because people who like XPs, watching the tiers and watching some numbers bubble around, but they're not huge, ungainly numbers that seem like they're. I mean, the numbers are all made up. The points don't matter, as we know. But you get too big, and it's like, can't we just do 1 through 5 or something? I like this. This is really cool. And the clocks thing, man, I have heard that, and after experiencing the clocks with Craig Shipman when we did Blades, I thought that was really cool. It's a thing that myself and Eric Frankhouse and other game masters know. We're like, we do this anyway, but having a mechanism, if nothing else, instead of that hand scrawled note that says, "Don't forget guards after them," we go guards in a pie, tick, tick, tick. There's something cool about that. It's like a nice little bit of shorthand that helps you remember to keep shit moving. So I think it's a neat idea, and it could be very, very helpful in any system.
Lots of people like the clocks. Tick, 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 tick.
It's got a great effect to it. And part of the effect, I think, is just simply as the game master, even if the players see it, if you're doing it that way, if you're keeping them to yourselves, but I think there's some power in having the players see it, because much like Kevin just said with the XP piece, is when they're tracking their own stuff, go, "Oh shit, that's gonna go. Well, that'll probably up the clock." You're darn right it will. So Sean, tick, and you put a little mark on it. They can see what's happening. They're dreading it. They feel the impending doom, which is something that can be hard to do. I think that's one of the reasons why there is in Call of Cthulhu, there's a sanity rating on your character sheet. That's why Dread uses the Jenga-like tower. You want to have an impending doom feeling. And sometimes the visual is just awesome. Watching the numbers on your hit point tracker go down, the impending doom builds. Watch it go down in your sanity. Oh, Christ, here we go. Same thing. So, and this is just a good story impending doom happening, not just a very specific to you. So that's good stuff. Thanks, Kevin. That was really cool.
Yeah, thanks,
Very,
Kevin.
very cool.
Let's get into the main topic, Brett.
Oh, before we go, I gotta say, Mr. Timothy Stone, I'm absolutely not mad at you, dude.
You should.
I'm not taking it personal. I'm like,
that.
God damn, where was it?
He says that, Timothy. I don't know.
Oh, don't. No. Yes, I'm really angry. No, I could not. I'm like, oh my God, where is it? I'm actually glad he questioned me.
What? He's calling me out?
How dare you, sir?
Hulk smash.
You were here, I'd slap you with a white glove. It'd be pistols at dawn.
Yeah.
No, I think it's interesting. Sometimes we'll have a thing in our head. So, for example, let me just throw this at you. AJ's running 5e. We're fighting these trolls. And I'm like, oh, I know how trolls work. And AJ says something like, well, and the regen. I'm like, yeah, but we did fire damage. She goes, doesn't matter. I'm like, what? I completely forgot 5th edition trolls fire arrests their regeneration for like a round. It's not like it does it differently. And I said, I said, well, the way trolls have always worked, acting like I know everything, is that you had to track fire and acid damage separately in the regular hit points because certain things were regen. And he goes, oh, yes, that sounds wise, old father of mine. Yes, great. So here, let me show you. Pull out the 1st edition rulebook. Open that fucker up. And I am wrong. I am horribly, horribly wrong. You need to burn a troll completely or immerse it in acid, which is a lot of acid, I would assume. That's to kill it. Otherwise, it regens everything until it goes down. And then when it's down is when you gotta finish the fucker off with the acid or the fire. But otherwise, if you burn it in play, nothing. It's just regular damage. It heals it. I'm like, well, where the fuck did I get this from? 2nd edition, Vault of Monster. Read it. Still not there. God damn it. It showed up in like third 5 is where it came in. I'm like, here's a hint of the thing that I thought was always true. Turns out I was way wrong. Which I can now hear the old school DM saying, Brett, you dumb shit, read the goddamn rules. And I hear you. It's just, it's amazing how we will have something like, oh, this is clearly this thing in these games we played for a long time, or even if you haven't played it that long. And then you're like, oh, I guess I don't know how trolls work in 5e. Oh, just sit over here in a corner looking like an idiot. Anyway, let's move on. Let's get the actual topic before I go to
the main topic.
My apology. Here we go.
Oh my goodness. What are we talking about this week, Brett?
Well, listeners, we're talking about breaking the fourth wall. So what I want to talk about here is I've got it in the die roll, a link to Matt Colville's information video, which I think is kind of fun. And it's one of his older ones. Getting information to players or players to our game masters can be incredibly challenging, right? We sometimes want to do it in character as our character, and sometimes it's just easier, in my opinion, to break the fourth wall and explicitly state stuff. So, and I think before we get too far here, I also want to say, I think a lot of us do this, explicitly stating things many different times, but for some reason, we'll often put a block up, like, oh, I can't do it here. It has to be this other way or something. So I looked up kind of a fourth wall, a good definition or rule of why. I got a nice one out of Google. It said, by breaking the fourth wall, you create more intimacy between the actors and the audience. It helps strengthen their relationship. It also acts as a comedic device to trigger laughs. The audience engages and participates more when the fourth wall is broken the right way. And one of the things I thought was interesting is it talks about the comedic device to trigger laughs. And I remember, of course, the Deadpool movies. And I'm like, yes, that was hilarious. Ryan Reynolds breaking fourth wall, good stuff. Now, then again, if you watch Sir Ian McKellen, I believe it's his Richard III, A Horse, My Kingdom for a Horse, he breaks the fourth wall in that Shakespearean movie adaptation of that play all the time. He'll be doing something, he'll turn, look right at the camera, and you know he's talking to you. He leans in, which is exactly what the character would do in the play. And my apologies if I'm screwing up which of Shakespeare's plays this is. I was an English major, so I don't remember them all. Anyway, when he leans in, and he's got this wonderful Ian McKellen smile, like, you know what I'm doing here, don't you? Look at this. This woman, I'm going to woo her, even though her husband just died because I had him killed. Watch what I'm going to do. And he says these horrible things, and he's playing you. He's telling you what's going on. It's these wonderful, explicit statements. And it's this beautiful device. Not only does it make you as the audience go, oh my, I know something. Ha ha ha. I'm on the inside track. But it also gives you this really wonderful, like, I was right. I think this is what's going on. And the character turns to you and say, yes, Sean. Yes, Brett. That's totally what we're doing here. So I think examples of what I think we do this. I'm going to jump around the notes here for a second, Sean. But I think we already do this a few different times in our games. I would state that we try to be very explicit, or often as game masters and as players, when we explain a combat or we explain a scene of some kind, right? You see this. We try to use flowery, beautiful language sometimes. We try to be eloquent, explain what the tavern looks like, explain what the master ball looks like. What does what do the hackers look like sitting in the corner at this whatever? What's going on? What does the jungle feel like? What's the planet? And so on. We try to be very explicit so that people understand what they have to work with, right? What's there, what's not there. And players will often ask questions back, right? Okay, wait a minute. So you said that we're in a bar and you said there's a bunch of guys smoking in the corner and this over there and that over here, right? Yeah. Okay, I'll go over to the guy smoking in the corner because I think that's our contact, right? They're working with that stuff and they're explaining to you what they're going to do as explicitly as they can many times, so that we as game masters say, yes, Sean's going to talk to the contacts in the corner. We're talking to the rigger. Got it. That's what's going on. However, there's other times then when we start interrogating or we're looking for clues, or you're looking for clues from an NPC, especially. And it can get kind of frustrating. And I've run into this before when I ran Vampire. This became a thing because it was one of my first experiences with it. So people would come up and they'd be grilling me as an NPC. And I'm being cagey and I'm dodging them and I'm talking in vagaries or I'm acting foolish or something. I'm trying to produce something. And I could see my one player, my buddy John at the time, goes, Brett, look, I like the role playing, but does he fucking know this or not? We've been doing this for 15 minutes. Am I getting anywhere? And we didn't want to just simply roll the dice to have, yes, you rolled a 10 or above, you get it type of thing. It was an in-character, this beautiful little conversation going on. It was fun, but I was able to say, look, shorthand later on is like, look, you talk to him a little bit, you have this initial back and forth, and I stop the conversation and say, this can go on as long as you want it to, but it's very clear to you unless you change your tactic, NPC X is not going to help you. Thank you. Good to know. Because otherwise, you as the player could be beating your head against this exposition wall for the entire fucking night and get nowhere with it because I don't want to break character. And sometimes when players are talking to me, my buddy Zave is good for this. Okay, Brett, I want to know, what are they drinking? Well, they're drinking this. Is that a blue liquid? Yes, it's blue. What kind of blue? I'm like, dude, really? Who fucking cares? So what I will do, okay, Dave, you're asking a lot of details here. Before we get way down a silly rabbit hole, what are you trying to accomplish with this line of questioning? Oh, my character I'm trying to figure this thing out. Got it. Yes. Okay. You realize quickly, Dave, that the color glass doesn't matter. What really matters is this, working around it. Does that make sense to you, Sean? What I'm saying? You're smiling at me like you're trying to agree with me, but you disagree. Do you agree, or am I making no sense?
I agree, and I did watch 3/4 of Colville's video. And
okay, that's fine.
And I think the reference you're referring to is when he talks about the NPC lackey of one of the player characters.
He's doing a one-on-one
yes
game, right?
Yeah.
So I'm running for Sean.
Yeah.
I'm playing an NPC who's supporting Sean, and the guy in this case was looking at the NPC / Matt saying, hey, will you decide this for me? I'm lost at sea. Will you do this for me? And Matt tells him, look,
he's a
coward.
Yeah.
He will only follow you. If you ask him his opinion will be run away, do the safest thing possible.
The less
but he really
risky. Yeah.
Yeah, really risk adverse, but he likes you and will follow you anywhere.
Right.
He also had an example of dwarves in his universe tend to be short Klingons. So they had
Yes.
the characters that had NPC dwarf, and like, well, we asked the NPC dwarf. The dwarf goes, what better way to die than against overwhelming odds? Die? Oh, okay. He's insane. We'll not talk to the dwarf.
Right.
Kind of thing.
So I'm trying to figure out whether why, and maybe it's the one end of the same, but why isn't it just metagaming?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's a damn good question.
I mean,
and
maybe
I think
maybe it is.
Yeah.
Right.
It could well be. And I think the concept of the fourth wall here, the reason I brought it as such is because oftentimes when we're in character, people talk about immersion. They want to be in the game. They want to have this wonderful feeling like I am doing the thing my character would do and so forth. And you can do that, I think, sometimes to a fault because you are not that person. And I, as the game master, am not this other person. You want things to move forward. Some people very, very much have been to LARPs. Some people very much enjoy sitting in a corner, drinking artificial wine, and talking in character and getting what many people consider fuck all done for 8 hours. I've seen it happen, right? But they had fun, and I'm not going to knock that fun. I, Brett, can't fucking do that. Drives me bananas. If I'm running a game, I want shit to progress. I want things to move.
Right.
And when people are getting frustrated and confused about, okay, so can you describe the room again, Sean? I just don't get this. So does the rope go to the ceiling or is it hanging loose in the air? I don't understand this.
Right.
Right. When at first you said, okay, a rope appears to dangle from the blah, blah, blah. Like, does it or doesn't it? Because they're trying different things based on what you said. They're failing, or half-ass succeeding, and people getting frustrated.
Yes.
So sometimes our wonderful artsy discussions, as Matt Colville would say, if it's obvious to a character, make sure it's obvious to the player of that character.
Yes.
Right? Because it
saw that part.
Yeah. I think that it's
that's the social encounter example in every game that doesn't have social encounter rules or they're real shitty, which is I keep driving at trying to get info from them and they don't give it up. So then it becomes a question of whether they actually have the info or they don't. But if I interrogate them or I intimidate them or I diplomacy long enough, I should be able to get the answer. And then it's at a point where the DM just says, look, no, nothing you're going to do is going to, because you're role playing it. Nope, refuses, spits in your eye, blah, blah, blah. And eventually the game master says, look, it doesn't matter what you roll. It doesn't matter what you're going to do. This person is not going to give you the info that you're looking for. Period. End of discussion.
Yeah, it's very clear that this person does not know what you're talking about. Move on.
Right.
I would also say that in combat situations or tactical situations, it also happens, even if you're using a grid. Why just go and hop over that chasm? And you're like, so, well, you're going to have to make a jump roll. Well, I suck at jump. I wouldn't do that if I knew that. Have you heard that? I've heard that, right? So sometimes the thing that's drawn on the map, the theater of the mind, whatever it is that you're using for your grid, your encounter, even if it's not social, can be very difficult. And someone's like, well, I have played with people, and I have plenty of examples over my years of playing, and hopefully no one else will have this problem. One of my friends, his wife was playing a game at Gen Con one year, and she runs behind a tree, and she wants to shoot somebody with her pistol. So the bad guy's over there. She said, I shoot. You miss. And she's like, okay, didn't even roll.
Right.
That's weird. She's like, this is odd. It's a demo game for a brand new game, right? Okay, interesting. Next comes around here. What do you do, Kim? I shoot. You miss. Huh? He does this to her 4 times before. She's very calm. And she goes, why am I missing? Well, you didn't bother to tell me you stepped out from behind the tree. So she's like, I was just shooting my gun into a tree for 4 rounds. And I never noticed. He said, hey, I told you have to tell me what you're doing.
I'm going to run all my games like that moving forward.
She was so
Now you're
pissed.
in for it. Game holders, Forbidden Landers.
She was so pissed. And I've only seen her mad like when somebody hurt her dog. Type of thing. She's never mad. She was livid angry. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But sometimes we will do a thing where we're like, okay, so you sure you want, we as game masters will say, so you sure you're going to do a running jump over this chasm? Yeah. You're going to jump over this chasm with all your gear on? Well, yeah, I'm just going to run down and leap across it. All right, give me a leaping roll, and it's minus 10% because you're overloaded. Oh, well, you only got only 5% chance. Oh, well, I'm not gonna. Too bad you said you did it. Because you already had this argument back and forth. So I honestly think, and it's because we're trying to be immersed, we're trying to see everything, right? We want to be in this world, and that metagaming / fourth wall, it's flexible. It's a permeable membrane, right? It's not really a wall, I guess, is the point here, right? There's times we need to put it down. It's like the GM screen. You flap the fucker down and say, look, folks, this person you're talking to, you're in the Forgotten Realms. You made it to Elminster's house. You're asking him questions. The Sage of Shadowdale has told you all this stuff. Yeah, but he's not going to solve your fucking problem. Stop asking him, right? He's not going to answer you, right? Or he's not going to go out and take care of Tiamat for you. That's your job. You're the adventurers type of thing. Or whatever. I'm very bizarre example, but it's kind of like if you're running a Star Wars game in canon, like, well, I'll just go find Luke Skywalker and he'll just fix it for me. Like, no, it's not the point. This wasn't hunt down Luke Skywalker and have him fix your fucking problems for you.
How do you know Luke Skywalker exists?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you said it was in the timeline, so I could totally do that, right? So what I'm talking about here, those moments when you can feel the ambiguity rising, you feel the frustration. We've talked about this in other words, on other times, helping people do explanations and stuff. I was rewatching a couple hunting videos, watching some gaming videos. I got on some Matt Colville ones. I haven't seen this one in a while. I hit it. I'm like, you know what? I think he's right. He says, one quote was like, it's profoundly unsportsmanlike to trick your players by withholding character information just because the player didn't think to ask for it. Now, some styles of play are like, well, it's more a player versus a character challenge, right? Some old school style is like that. And some people play lots of games like that, where they're like, look, I'm not just going to give you information just because. I'm like freely handing shit out because you didn't bother to ask, because you're being a slack ass sitting there, Brett. You're not fucking engaging. Why would I just give you wizard stuff? What I believe we're talking about here, though, is when your wizard character, I'll use wizards again for D&D, is standing there and is looking at the drawings on the wall and says, well, I want to try Arcana to see if that does anything. You can say, okay, give me a roll. And say, you know what? As a wizard, you're that was a pretty good roll, right? That was a pretty good roll. Or even if it's a bad roll, or you can look at it and say, look, even with that costly shitty roll, Brett, your wizard knows that is much more religious in origin than yours. It has allusions to demons or devils, but man, you need a priest or a priestess. You need a person of the cloth to come in and take a look at it. They go, hey, Claire, get over here. They walk up. I'm like, religion roll it. Yep, give me a religion roll. Boom, and they look at it. Like, yes, here's the wisdom to come through. And it cuts through the frustration. And I think it's one of those tools that we have sometimes that when we see the frustration coming, it is absolutely worth stopping. And fourth wall just happened to be the thing I could think of from a title perspective, Sean, is you're kind of acting behind this thing and you kind of drop it for a second and go, look, Game Master True Player, this is the deal. And one of my favorite things as a Game Master is when my players do that back to me. And by that, I mean they're doing everything they can to be as crystal clear as possible. Like, look, I know that this may not have any mechanical advantage, Brett, but what I want to do is gather the villagers in the inn. We're under siege by weird undead in the freezing snows here in the Grand Duchy of Jeff. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get them all there. We're going to pray to Heronius together. And I want to try to rally them in some way. I don't even know what kind of die roll to make, man, but I really want to try this.
Yeah, Jeff does that a lot.
Which is what
Jeff does that a lot in
that's
the
what
game.
my buddy Nick did this.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and I like, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's a good role-playing moment. I can say, yeah, okay, they rally or they argue with you or whatever, but he explicitly states what he's trying to do, right? And sometimes, and I like that better than a Grey Hawket, or I rolled the d20. I searched the room. I got a 15. What did I find? Right. So I also use this when someone is that unengagedly engaged. Well, all they expect is a single die roll, no role playing, no description. We've talked about that. And Old School had some good pointers around like 5e rules and stuff. But even if you're playing, Traveler, Star Wars, whatever it is, whatever's got a search capability for you, Call of Cthulhu, what have you, and you just roll and say, well, I want to search. I got a 22. Okay. As a game master, you could say, explain to me what it is you're actually looking for. I'm not telling you don't find it. I just want to know what you're looking for. Right? Because otherwise you can, if you say, oh, a 22, well, you find a really fancy inkwell. There's a typewriter. You can tell the typewriter has been recently used and that the E key sticks quite a bit. They're like, and the player's getting frustrated. They're getting annoyed because this is garbage. They feel you're pandering to them, like you're being this dick who's just giving them crap because I succeeded, when in fact they would have preferred an answer if there's nothing there. But that's very unsatisfying, right? No, there's nothing to find. It's very boring. But there's a way to do this where you knock that wall down. I got a 22. What are you trying to find? Well, I'm trying to see if he left a note to his secretary because she told us that he was going to do this. And like, well, there's no note from her, but there is from his boyfriend. Oh, okay, cool. Right? You know what the real clue is? They're looking at it for this angle, and then you get to flip it around a little bit. No. It has nothing to do with the lady at the front desk. It has to do with this dude's boyfriend. Oh, I didn't even know he was involved. Things pick up. So I love doing that, and I think I was looking at it with how I was running my Greyhawk game and how I was running for my kids and other folks, just different things I do. And the video from Matt kind of kicked it into me. So Sean, you looked at it and we've talked about this for a bit. Do you do this at all? Is this something that consciously or unconsciously just to help kind of break a confusion of like in character activity where you stop it for a second?
All
do you do
the
that?
time.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times. I don't know if I actually try to get away from it more.
You try to get away from breaking it down, just let people be stupid?
No.
Teasing.
Yes.
Yes, I do. Oh, you hang yourself. Good for you.
Well, typically I try to do it within the game in order to keep, I don't know, I say immersion. I think that gets overused.
Do you have an example? What are you talking about?
Well, I think it would be usually when I bring it up or follow this way of thinking, it has to do with they're talking amongst themselves, or players trying to kind of flesh out what they're trying to accomplish, or something along those lines, and they're obviously wrong. Like they're on the wrong page. They're seeing something I am not conveying correctly.
Oh yeah. Well, Sean said that he didn't eat his cheese sandwich, and that means you're like, dude, that's not.
Yeah.
Where'd the cheese sandwich come in?
So there's 2 tents, okay, and then I'm looking around the tents, and there's probably there's probably furniture in here, Foot Locker, da 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 da. No, there isn't. I never said that, or no, it's not there, or they're spending too much time in there. Like, there's got to be something in here that's useful, right? Okay, you find this, and that, right? And then they're like, okay, I go through it again. I go through the other one. It's got to be in here because why wouldn't it be in here? And then it's like, okay, you've searched the tent and everything in it. Just ransack the place. It's not, you don't find anything. It's not in here.
Yeah, you turn it inside out. The idol that was stolen is not here.
Right. But I thought you said that it would be in the tent. Like the NPC said it was in the tent, Yeah, okay. Yeah, they did. Just because they say it doesn't make it so. Like,
yeah, sometimes that's actually an interesting kind of a sidebar too, I think, is that the signal to know, like you don't have to trust everything the NPCs tell you. And
Colville even said something in the video about conveying something, and it was like, oh, then it must be a thing. Like, it must be true. Well, he's like, why would an NPC not be true? Because the DM said it.
Yeah. His example was like, well, the dragon phalanx is incorruptible.
Oh, that's what it was. Yes.
And people said, like, what are the mechanics that make it so? Right. He's like, that's just a statement people make,
Yes, it would be.
That's like,
yes. The king is so honorable and trustworthy.
He would never do that.
And yes, and then the king backstabs somebody, and then there's this confusion, right?
Yeah. Well, you told me you told me this thing. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, and I lied to you. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you.
It's just he was talking about a cultural.
It's a cultural belief, a system, something you have. Yeah. Like if you grew up in a certain, or wherever your culture happens to be, like, look, you eat food like this, you wash like this. This is what you do.
Right.
This is what anyone who doesn't do that is a barbarian, an outsider, whatever. Those cultural tropes we're all fairly aware of. We can pick all sorts of them out there. And then if you get to a point where you're like, well, I mean, Navy SEALs are all badasses. Yep, probably every single one of them is a badass in, absolutely fine. Okay. But someone will say, well, they're the toughest in all the military. No one else is that. That's well-known fact. All those well-known facts.
Right,
so the big things people throw out. Alligators in the sewers, crazy ass shit. And absolutely no offense to any Navy SEAL who happens to listen to us. I'm not besmirching anybody. But somebody will put a label on something, and we're like, oh, yes, that's true. Oh, yeah.
Right.
I have this happen in my stupid IT job. Well, it's Microsoft. What are you going to do, right? Everyone knows sometimes you just got to reboot a server. It's just a thing you got to do.
Yeah,
if you got shitty, fucked up app code, you do.
Yeah.
Or a bad database. Anyway, point is, that's another one where from a fourth wall breaking it perspective, sometimes it helps in those cases where, but the NPC said this. Then you as the game master, if the players seriously aren't getting it, you can say, that may draw your question of, can I trust that NPC? Seems to be valid. Oh. You don't even have to say flat out, he lied to you, or it's obvious to you that he was mistaken, or it's obvious whatever. You can use a break like that in character, in tone, to relay the same data. Right? So in that example, well, he said the idol's in the tent. It looks like he may either be mistaken or maybe he misled you. Oh. I'm saying that as a game master, as a position of authority to the player who's trying to be in character. So I'm answering them as directly as I can to cut the confusion, plant the right notion in them, and let them run with it. So I like doing that stuff too. I think that's fun. It's not always about look, you fucking idiot, it's not in the goddamn tent. How many times do I have to tell you, right? It's not that approach, right?
Why? I don't. It's
It
much
totally can be.
shortest distance between 2 points is what the fuck are you thinking about? Right?
Have you ever used a break like that to do the joke in a game, like the laughter component of it?
The laughter
Like
component.
a fourth wall break often it gets comedic effect, right? You can trigger laughter and so on. Have you ever done that in a game?
Can you give me an example?
So every once in a while, I'll be running, something will be happening, and something crazy occurs.
Sure.
And I just step back for a minute. I'm like, I have this image, and I just say out loud, like, I have this image in my head of like what was that? The guy just like shakes it. He just looks around and mouths, "What the fuck?" and points. It's like, what? That where the general looks at the at the other guy, at the lieutenant, and just does a face palm, like, "You idiot." It's just a 2-second blurb, and the players giggle because like, oh yeah, God, I would be mad at him too. But what are you gonna do? You're in this big courtly situation or whatever. Or somebody tells a horrible joke, and the king, you just see him audibly groan with his head in his hands. It's just this, or you're basically conveying that this was a terrible faux pas, and it's kind of funny, or it's almost like this out of character activity. I don't know. That's where a lot of the jokes come out in my games.
Yeah.
Is a fourth wall break. Somebody's like, man, that would be like, getting hit in the face with a bag of wet cheese. Where do you get a bag of wet cheese from? Where's that fucking from? Just 'cause
There was
weird.
I don't know if this pertains to the exact same example that you're talking about, but during this last Cyberpunk Red game, this Delphine woman that I mentioned calls me to say, hey, I want to book these guys. And she goes, I said, okay. So she says, come to Metal Storm, meet us there at 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock, meet us there at 9 o'clock.
Because 9 o'clock, got it. I immediately hang up the phone. I call the social media person, which is Crystal's character, whose name escapes me at the moment. And I say, hey, we got this thing at Metal Storm. I need you to cover and give us some social media coverage, right? I need you to start putting it out there, blah, 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 blah. It's going to be pretty big. She goes, okay. What time? And I'm like, 8 o'clock. Now, Crystal's like, no, are you sure? Right? So she's kind of still in character. Well, she's in the room. She's basically in the room. She heard you.
She
heard the game master say 9 o'clock.
She heard the transaction go between me and the game master, and I said, "No, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. Be there. I'll meet you there. It'll be great. I'll get the band. I gotta get off the phone. I gotta talk to the band. Make sure that they show up at 8 o'clock." She's like, "You're sure?" And so she was partially asking me. Right, yeah. Sean, and she's partially asking my character. I'm like, if she played it right, in my opinion, she would have just been like 8 o'clock. Yeah, no problem, right? But she was making sure I wasn't making a mistake as a player.
I've had that happen. I think that's funny as hell to me.
Well, I do it purposely, right? Like,
there's this wonderful time when that happens, when the rest of the table is like, "Oh my god, is like his character? Is this character an idiot, or is he just fucking around?"
Right.
Is that just who he is? And that's fun. It gets a giggle because people know what the truth is,
right?
And a piece of it doesn't happen,
right?
And they're basically breaking that wall, saying, "Sean, we all know the game master said 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
what the fuck is 8 o'clock for?"
Yep.
No. I'm playing, but we don't want to say I'm playing my character because that kind of you feel like that kind of it's like a just ugly speed bump type of feel.
So Jimmy's like sitting there listening to this, right? And he's running the game, and then I go, okay. And then I'm like, all right, see ya. Okay, talk to you later. Bye. I hang up the phone. Call up the band. Hey, guys, let's see. I need you guys to be there by, see, what time was it again? 9 o'clock. So I give the band the right time. So Crystal's character is like, so Jimmy's like, so, okay. And then he kind of goes through some things. And then he's like, okay, fast forward. So Crystal's like 8 o'clock. And he goes, yep, it's 8 o'clock, and you go down to Metal Storm, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, you get some text messages, Hendrix. And I'm like, yep. She's like, where the hell are you? I'm here, blah, blah, blah. I call them. I'm like, yeah, what's up? She's like, where are you? I'm like, I don't know. What do you mean? What am I doing? And she says, you just said to be here at 8:00. And I go, no, I said 9:00.
This is a total airhead dude. Like, what? I don't know.
She's like, I'm like, yeah.
I will strangle you.
I'm like, just, hang out there. We'll be down there in just a second. So, then it just
awesome.
kind of
That's
goes.
funny.
But
I think those times are fun because I have also seen it happen where people will stop. Like, wait a minute. Are you just role playing or what? And sometimes that's a logical thing to do if you don't know the players,
sure.
right? You and that crew play together for a while now. So when one of you's doing something on purpose, it's kind of glaringly obvious it's being done on purpose. My home group and I are much the same. Somebody does something different, and someone go, 7:00. You say, sure, 7:00. Frick. It's just kind of mulling in your off and running. Right. But I have been at a con game when I was running something and someone screwed up the time, or like a similar. It wasn't exactly a time thing. But they screwed up some detail.
Right, they either left it out or skewed it.
And the player looked at him and they asked him. He said, "No,
he had it wrong."
And I stopped and his game master said, "Are you doing that to like? Is your character messing with theirs,
or do you have
it
wrong?"
At me, he was like, he looked at me. He was like, "No, dude, that's what it is. Is it actually? It's this." Oh crap! Yeah, that is what you said. Oh my god, I totally messed it up. Which of course became hilarious.
Right.
Like, oh my god, I almost sent you like into a death trap an hour early. Wow, that'd been terrible. Right. So sometimes, like I said, I think it's from the comedic value. Sometimes it's like stopping something horrible from happening.
Sure.
When the characters are rolling around, they're ready to do something. You're like, so hang on, let me. So what you're saying is you're going to grab the cannon and do what with it? Oh yeah, I can't pick that up, can I? No, you can't. Right. Instead of saying, okay, so you run up to the cannon, grab it, and you're like, ugh, nothing happens.
Right.
Instead of doing that,
trying to pull the turd off
like,
the tank.
Yeah. The player's like, well, I didn't think it was that big. I thought you said it was like a small cannon. And they have this in their head, like, pop gun, and you're thinking like 60-pound gun. Yeah, you're thinking of goddamn emplacement, So anyway, point being is I think there's some cool parts to doing this when we have this immersion component. We want to be in it. We want to make decisions as characters and stuff. NPCs, as you said, the social stuff is very common. When the dice aren't rolling, you're not trying to use mechanics to solely explain something. Or for some reason, somebody doesn't want to listen to the mechanics. Like, yeah, I failed that time. I'm going to try it again. The rules don't say I can't keep bothering them every 5 minutes until they give me the answer I want. Okay, I, as a game master, I'm telling you it's a dumb fucking idea, and here's why. I think that just avoiding confusion, avoiding frustration, and helping people sometimes not look stupid, helping people make a good decision is when this is very helpful. Like, look, it's glaringly obvious to you. Like, your character is a dwarf. His background is tunneling, mining. Matter of fact, his character background is like miner extraordinaire. I'm the father of all mines. My father made most of the mines in this goddamn mountain. That character knows when she looks down the tunnel that sucker is going to collapse, right? That's a gimme. You don't have to say, when the dwarf is like, really? The tunnel just randomly collapses and I, the tunnel master, don't know this? And she's rightfully pissed at you because your character knows this. Well, you didn't tell me you checked. Okay, I'll tell you when I wipe my ass next time. Thank you very much. It gets tedious sometimes. So anyway, that's what I want to talk about. Hope that was worth your time, Sean.
And there you go.
Hope that didn't anger you.
You wander, okay. And there you are.
You wander, there you are. You good with that?
Yeah. Good with that.
All right. Off we go.
All right, die roll. Get in the die roll. Die roll, 2 to 4 miscellaneous points, gaming and geekery we want to bring to share with you. The first one that we want to put out there is the one that Brett put out as Colville's video. For some inspiration for this topic. It's pretty good. Check it out. We'll put that in the show notes. Next one, Starbucks and Target radio drama featuring Josh Wallace as the Target Master, a fan favorite winner from spring 2021 digital serials. It's a radio play about a group of fantasy world friends, a wizard, an elf, a troll, and so forth, who get together after work to blow off steam in a role-playing game called Starbucks and Target.
Interesting.
Yeah. I have a snippet of it, but you'll have to check it out. It is a $5 file that they have. I think it's these things that folks put together. Like it's a production, right? It's like a play, except they put it in audio format, right? Radio drama.
Got it.
And then they put it out there on this site to sell. So check it out. Let's see. For last one, Robert E. Howard, Art Chronology. Jesus. Is a Kickstarter coming soon. I think I'm posting these links, right? No.
It's an art history of Robert E. Howard, publications in pulps, comics, and novels. 4 fully illustrated volumes. So interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, there was a lot of not just Frank Frazetta. I mean, when you look back at a lot of pulps and stuff, Weird Tales and so on, there were some what I would consider questionable art quality. Some of those, and some was way better than others, and so on. That might be interesting. Cool. Okay, neat.
Yeah,
that's Chenault, Steve Chenault. Is that who that
Steve is? Steve Chenault. Yeah, it's a partnership, I think, between him and one other, like his party and another one. I can't remember.
Very cool.
Yes. And I think
nice.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the other link that I can paste here for Josh's thing. So that's all we had for die roll this week. And then, well, we should mention too, if you didn't get in on the Kingdoms in Warfare from Matt Colville, that the PDF has dropped.
Correct.
I'm a backer of that. Did you back it, Brett?
Oh, fuck yeah. I got a leather-bound book coming, dude.
Leather-bound.
Wow. Well, whatever the higher, nicely bound one. It goes with the other one I bought because I'm a sucker for that stuff. But if you go out to his channel, he has a kind of a pitch for you for like, what's this all about?
Yes.
He talks about it. And one of the cool things that got me interested in this one was the organization structures. It's basically Kingdom's groupings, like, hey, you're an adventuring party. How are you doing this? His chain of background is built very much like the Black Company stuff. Watch that video. I think he does a very good job explaining the different pieces and parts. Very interesting to me. And Takadokan's component, I'm like, wow, those are kind of cool rules. I wonder if I'll ever use them. So I'm looking forward to reading through it and seeing what I could do. So kind of cool.
So I think they're having some issues with supplies, paper, shit, stuff like that. Like the whole
everybody who is publishing a game or whatever, it's just in rough shape. I mean, I can tell you right now, if you want to buy computers, the processor shortage, it's a real goddamn thing.
Oh no shit, man. Trust me, I bought a eCPU that I did not want to buy because I was never going to get a video card that was up to date for a reasonable price. Yeah. I was going to have to spend double the amount for something that's already 2 years old.
So if you're in IT, from one IT professional to another, spend as much cash. Get your diner ticket right now. The now serving number 5. If you're buying Cisco or any equipment out there, because now's the time to do it. Because it's not going to get better anytime soon. Anyway, enough of that shit. So,
but I say that because
the PDF's out
PDF is available now, and as they get the printed copy where it needs to be when supplies pick back up. So there you go. What are we talking about next week, Brett?
I'm not 100% sure, man. I got a couple different ideas.
Player.
The fourth wall. Yeah, I was thinking I might throw some more player stuff out there. We'll see what happens.
Critiquing the player.
Yeah, we talked about that. So I was going to talk to you about that offline and see what we want to do. So
okay. Sounds good.
All right, a little top secret there. Yeah, keep it on down low, man.
Fair enough. All right. Hey, I just want to thank everybody for joining us live this evening. We stream here on Twitch every Monday night at 8 o'clock Central Time US. Just head over to gamingbs.com/Twitch. If you see this on YouTube, at gamingbs.com/YouTube, give us a like or subscribe. Greatly appreciated. Otherwise, you can find the audio flagship show at your favorite podcatcher of choice. And we have links. I don't know if you check, but if you look at the show notes, there's some interesting stuff in there. And at the bottom, there's a bunch of links like to Discord and forums and games and all this other stuff. So,
yep.
Yeah. But other than that, hey, this one's in the can. For Gaming NBS, I'm Sean.
And I'm Brett. Good night and good game and all.
This episode of Gaming and BS produced with help from the following BSers: Joe Swick, Old School DM, Tony Sugarloaf Baker, Eric Jeppesen, Andy Hall, Chris Steele, Jason Hobbs, Mark Tasaka, Marco Froelich, Pierre Mongro, Brett Pazinski, Brandon Barnes, Eileen Barnes, Dan LaValle, CW Mellencamp, Craig Huber, Roger Braslett, Stefan Dragonspawn, Jared Rasher, Ray Otis, Jim Fitzpatrick, Old Schools at Roleplaying, Christopher Lang, Curtis Takahashi, Larry Hout, Ron Bishop, Mark Richmond, Chad Gleeman, Sky, Craig, Howard Bishop, Josh Wallace, Corey Welch, Angus, Eric Salzwedel, George Sedgwick, Robert Emuth, Brian Kurtz, Laramie Wall, Perry Basor, Eric Avia, Michael Dinos, Andy Olson, Jeff Seifert, John Kayward, Corey Gonzalez, Maura Reese, Niall Diamond, Aaron Relia, Jeff Goad, Aaron Coleman, Brian Rumble, Rich Wishan, David F. Baylog, Harrigan, Melissa Bashinsky, Henry Newcomb, Cole Kago, Eric Tavola, Hoos Carl, Ghost GM, Mike Hess Jr., Rory Weston, Jim Ingram, Daniel Garrett, Eric Frankhouse Presents, $1 Adventure Frameworks, Phil McClory, Adam Grotejohn, Jay Plata, Ed Nyes, The Duke in Purple, Isaiah Aries Christian, Larry Hollis, Quigley Malcolm, AWOL Trooper, Craig Shipman, Todd Sharp, Orcus Dorcas, Chris Shorp, Michael O'Holland, Wayne Peacock, Mike Coleman, Miniature Master, Kevin Keneally, Zagrave, Bob Fletcher, Vornak, and Andrew Lear. Hey, if you're interested, you could have your name read off at the end of the show. I know, prestige, right? Head over to gamingandbs.com/Patreon. That's Patreon. Hey, and if you don't want to give it the $4 level, give it the $1 level. I mean, it's less than the cost of a 20-ounce soda. Thanks, BSer!
This has been a Litterbox Studio production.